Hello, good morning. It is 6 in the morning, January 11th, 2026. And I have a week in review. Now, we adjust that. That is a lot lower of a number than it was last week. You might say, oh my God, Aurora, did you read like 170 books? Or did you unholic 170? No, I rebuilt the book wall and I counted all the books. The thing I said I wasn't going to do, I did it. It was for a couple of reasons. First up, whenever that urge hits, I just got to follow it or I'm never going to do it. Rebuilding the book wall, genuinely, it took me from 6 in the morning to noon. It takes 6 hours. Um, so that's part of it. But also, there were a couple of books that I wanted to grab or needed to grab. First up, I did pull out all of the Stephen King books that I need for her kid. I also have a friend who has been like yelling at me to read House in the Cerulean Sea for a year now. And I was like, I have it. It's in the book wall somewhere. And I think on Friday she called me and she's like, okay, find that book. I'm like, maybe, maybe. It's also the last weekend before grad school starts up again. And this semester I'm going to be busy. um, Not in terms of classes, but I got to get an action research project settled. Tomorrow, I really should have done it last week, but last week was the first week back to school. And I was dealing with 14, 10-year-olds all week, and I just didn't have it in me to message my advisor and talk about stuff like that. So it had to be this weekend. We're also possibly moving, which is maybe a dumb thing to rebuild the book wall, but we're looking at houses. So anyway, I only read 4 books this week because, again, aforementioned, going back to school, no longer have the entire day to myself every single day. I received a good handful. Well, let's talk about it. The first thing, for her kid, this counted for Spooky Creatures Fae. I read The Dark One by Nikki St. Croix, and this is, swear to God, one of the worst books I've ever fucking read. I think it's better than Lovesick, but it isn't. I must be being more liberal with my 1 stars because I've already got 2 1 stars this year. I've read 11 books. Um, the Dark One. As I started reading this, I did realize that this isn't one of those romantic series that you can just pick up whenever. You should have read the first book. But when I finished it, I was like, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go and read the first book. This is a nothing book. This is a nothing book. This is a book full of quippy one-liners and just dark, brooding characters that don't really mean anything. Like, none of this book really means anything. And like, I understand that this is a romantasy. This is a dark romantasy book written for the smut. The smut wasn't even that fucking good, right? Like I feel like when we have good smut, we really get in deep on the characterization. Like, the characterization has to matter too. I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. Dear God. Um, at the beginning of the year, I thought I was going to do a whole bunch of challenges, which is why I have this in there. I'm not doing that. But yeah, I read it and it was bad. The next book I read was didn't count for anything for her kid. This is a middle grade book that I'm going to be able to put in my classroom, which is great. That's What's His Face by Gordon Corman. This is about this kid named Cooper, and he is a perpetual new kid. He's always, family's always moving around, and he ends up in Stratford, which is a town that is really obsessed with Shakespeare. Um, and as a like a I'm sorry gift for moving him again, Cooper is given a cell phone, but this cell phone has a ghost in it, and this ghost is of this boy, this Elizabethan boy who hates Shakespeare. It's funny, it's fun. I did think the funniest part was how, like, nobody other than the love interest and Aiden, who was kind of started out kind of villainous, but then he was basically Cooper's only human friend by the end of it. Just refused to learn Cooper's name. I thought that was hilarious. However, I don't know. As a former English major, I feel like the anti-Shakespeare, like, he wasn't really that good, is kind of overdone and trite at this point. Like, people just always want to find a different view on things, and people always want to, with Shakespeare, the way to do that is be like, well, he wasn't actually good. He just stole everything, and so, like, I understand why this novel did that, like, especially for the plot reasons, like the entire plot. But part of me just kind of goes like, ugh, can we not? Like, I don't know. I did give it, I think, 4 out of 5 stars. Another thing I was going to do for some kind of challenge. Gordon Corman is really a fantastic older children's younger middle grade author. especially I mean, he's been around for a while. I think he's written like 150 books or something like that, and they're all pretty solid. I think the best one that I've read is The Fort, but this one isn't bad, right? Like it's not bad. All right, my next one is probably honestly my favorite book of the week, which I wasn't really expecting going in. This is one of those pulpy horror paperbacks, a paperback from hell, one might say. And a lot of the times those aren't very good. Like they're really fun, but they're not like very good. But then again, this one is by Robert R. McCammon, who is, for all intents and purposes, kind of one of the great leaders of the paperbacks of hell kind of books. Um, this for her kid counted for around the world, Antarctica. Um, that's what I used this one for. There were a couple things we were really going all around the world on this one. But I read Ball by Robert R. McCammon. What this is so atmospheric. I should give you a summary, but like that's just I want to. It is so atmospheric. Honestly, the first couple of chapters reminded me of Richard Lehman's Come Out Tonight. Just in that, just felt so like hot and sticky and almost like dystopian, almost like post-apocalyptic in the descriptions of like the city. Anyway, this is about this little boy who was born from a very violent rape. And this little boy grows up to basically be kind of an antichrist situation. He's a ball. He's like a destroyer of everything. He's an evil god. And he starts kind of amassing this kind of cult following. Um, and his goal is to kind of end the world. We've got a couple people who are going against him. Most notably, we have this old theology professor and Michael, who is really mysterious, and you don't learn very much about him. But given the general theological implications of the book, I'm just assuming it's the Archangel Michael. It's neither confirmed nor denied in the book. That's just kind of my assumption. Um, if I had to say one thing that I didn't like, I really wish, because we do a lot of time skips in here. Like we start off, we learn about like the mother and her husband. Like okay, and then we skip to the orphanage where Ball grew up, and I wish there had been more of that. Because given some of the names given at the end, like you know that some of the boys that came out of the orphanage with him stayed with him for a good amount of time, and I just would have liked to see the stuff between then and then when we go and we meet the theology professor. But no, I thought it was really interesting, really atmospheric, and just in general, like the first couple of chapters really, I just it just really reminded me of the Richard Lehman book. But even like later, like when we're in Kuwait, very atmospheric. When we're in Greenland, very atmospheric. Like everywhere it went, like there was a completely different atmosphere, and it was always just so interesting. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I have more McCammon in the book wall. I have like Swan Song and A Boy's Life, but I also have, what is it? It's right over there. Oh, it's not anymore. I thought it was on the top. I could see it. It's like B mine or something like that. And I'm excited. Like this was my first McCammon book, and I know that he's very very popular, and I'm assuming I guess for a good reason. So then the last one I read, I finished up yesterday. This is for her kid. One favorite prompt. I'm doing the A to Z challenges for B. Bullet Time by Nick Mamatas. This was a weird one. This is one of those ones where it was like you could kind of take one of two interpretations of the novel. It's either this boy is crazy, or there are genuinely lots of like you take the I chapters very literally, and you think of them as like okay, there are actual very multiple different realities that that we could be following right now, but we are choosing to follow this one. um I think it is really kind of harping in on, or really going intensely in on, the idea of different little choices making different little situations. This is about this boy Dave who goes to a really rough high school in New Jersey, and he is just every time he interacts with a person at his school, other than I think Lee and Malik, those guys were good. But other than those two and Oleg, every time he interacts with a person at his school, he is getting the shit kicked out of him. He is a sophomore and he is just constantly getting beaten up. And he ends up meeting this girl, and she kind of convinces him to go and shoot up the school. Um, like I said, it's very kind of mildly esoteric, and it's very like you take a step back, like the I chapters in here really are what turn this from just kind of a very straightforward Columbine-inspired novel to something a little bit different. Um, I do think it is really interesting to consider because in the I chapters, because the chapters that are just like the very linear Dave chapters are just like extremely like, okay, Dave goes to school, he got hit in the face, and then the I chapters, which are in first person rather than the third person that the Dave chapters are in, are like we talk about different possibilities and things kind of go back and things go forward again and things change and they're very interesting. I do love a book that doesn't make any goddamn sense, right? Like I love media that does not make sense. I think it's really fun. I think it's really fun. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was a really interesting book. It's a school shooting novel, but it's not a straightforward one, and I can enjoy that. So we are gonna -4 here. So this is gonna be 47. Oh, look at that. We don't even have to pull out any more blocks. So now we're at 2847. When it comes to what I'm keeping and getting rid of, I'm getting rid of this. I'm getting rid of this. I am keeping this, especially for now because I am planning on doing like quarterly pulp horror wrap-ups. I might keep it afterwards. I haven't decided yet, but I am for sure keeping it for now. And I'm not sure about this one. I think I'm gonna get rid of it. I think so. Okay. So now what I received first up, the 2 Kindle books I picked up this week that don't affect that. That's just physical TBR. I picked up The Darkest Winter by Lindsay Pogue and Counterpoint by I think that's J.E. Burke. These were both BookBub free free ebooks. Unless I've got a little bit of Katie of like Kindle points and there's a Thomas Carver I'm wanting. Generally all the Kindle books I pick up are free. So there's that. Now I've got my haul. I've got a good stack of books here. I had an eBay order come in. I had a couple of books I ordered from Amazon. These books are going straight onto my TBR. That's kind of how I'm running it right now. Don't ever take what I say is my current TBR seriously because I always change it up. Because what I've found is that if I allow myself to continually change up TBRs, I buy less books. Because like it's like it's like those people who are trying to quit like smoking or vaping, trying to use like those little like air up thing. Not air up, that's a water bottle. The little fume. That's what it is. Um, so as of right now, these are I'm intending on putting all these on my like immediately on my TBR just because I just because I just rebuilt the book wall and I don't want to mess it up already. So first up, I do have Bathhouse by P.J. Vernon. This is a book that I've had my eye on for a while. It is about this gay man who goes to this bathhouse, and he's cheating on like his partner, but then he gets like violently assaulted, and he can't really tell anybody because then his partner knows he was cheating, and it's just a whole thing. Um, Again, I've had my eye on it for a long time, so I picked it up. Another book I've had my eye on for a long time, a fantasy. This is one where whenever I hear people talk about it, I'm like, I should pick up that book and start that series. It's like the first in like a trilogy, but the trilogy is also part of a larger world series situation, and that is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Um, Again, I've been had my eye on this for a long time. This is about, I believe, a bastard son of like a king who ends up becoming an assassin or something like that. I They might be mildly overdone at this point because I know that for a time that was all of our main characters. I love a quirky little underdog assassin type character. Give me a Locke Lamora every fucking day. So I did pick this up. I Next up is my own book. I got another new cover, the third Otts Boys cover. I love it. I love this guy's work. I'm very excited to continue using him for the rest of the Otts Boys books. I obviously have to finish up the 4 that are currently published. I did also I'm like genuinely I'm like 10 pages away from finishing up the second draft of book 8. Right, 8. Yes, I think book 8 because I think Quinn book is 7. Um, but that is right or wrong. There's Luke on the cover there. The Otts Boys series. This is my uh series that you don't have to read in order. This book actually, in terms of the first 3, this one takes place chronologically the earliest. But right or wrong, Lost Boys number 3. Again, you don't have to read books 1 and 2. Number 3 follows Luke Mickelson, who is a sophomore in high school, and he is just, I mean, he's feeling pretty normal. I mean, his older brother, it's 2003 by the way, is in the Middle East, um, and he is starting to become pretty good friends with Matthew Klein, who is a dick. And then Matt bullies a kid to suicide who lives next door to Luke, and Luke is kind of trying to figure out, like, does he really, like, is, is Matt who he thought he was? Does Luke really want to continue being his friend? Because he kind of does. Does that make him a bad person? I do really like Right or Wrong, and I think the Zeke cover is still my favorite for the new ones, because I think he just like captured Zeke. But this is a really, oh man, I really like this one too. I don't know, I love them all. You like the Elliot one too. All right, then my eBay order. I What was I looking for? Oh, I got a vocabulary notebook, and they were like, buy, I think it was like, I guess it was five because I have five here. Buy five more books and get a couple of them free. And I was like, well, what the hell? This was before the turn of the year, so this wasn't a dumb shit one. But the first one on the stack is the Gormenghast trilogy by Mervyn Peake, which like. This is one that I hear whispers about. It looks weird and intense, and I like that. This has given me like mild Clive Barker vibes, mild Clark Ashton Smith vibes, stuff like that. The next one, uh, Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is one of those icebreaker books. I don't think you have to read them in order. I'm not intending on reading them in order, so you better not have to read them in order. I know that oh my fucking god, playlist I opened up, it's fucking What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction. Kill me. I have Icebreaker, but I haven't read it, but I do have this. Next up, here's a book that I'm kind of really wanting to read, but it's not like released in the US. And I'm pretty sure when I ordered all these books, they came from the UK, or whoever had them had gotten them from the UK, so I was able to get my hands on it. That's The Mare by Angarod Hampshire, which is about this um, woman who was a Nazi war criminal who ended up escaping justice, and then they find her when she's like an older woman or something like that. I don't know. It looks interesting. Again, I'm not a big World War II person, but I I'm just looking at stuff. It looked really interesting. All right, the next one is a one I've heard more about the movie than the book, but I did pick up Trainspotting by Irvine Welsh. Don't know what else to say about that. And finally, from that order, I did pick up a Layman that I don't have, and that is Out Are the Lights by Richard Layman. Again, I don't know what this is about. I think it's about like these like movies that people think might be snuff films, or something like that. I don't know. It's Richard Layman. It should be a good time. It's a little short. I wonder if it's newer. No, no. Oh, is this short stories? This is short stories or like novellas. That'll be fun. Okay. So yeah. And the last one is another one of my own books that I had a cover come in, and that is Graduation Day by me. These are short stories. So that is that. We're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're up to 56, which means we do need to pull up one of these. So now we are at 2856, which again, I thought I had hit 3,000. I didn't. I'm doing great. But that is everything. I do have a bookshop.org order. That was one of my 3 dumb things coming in this week. Other than that, other than odd covers that I order, I shouldn't have anything. I have one dumb shit thing left, but I'm saving that until the end of the month just in case we have a Dan and Phil merch drop or something. So that is that. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.